I'm Ben, I'm a mental health campaigner and I've been a Shout volunteer for a year and a half now. What about you?
So my name's Emily and I've been a Shout volunteer for a year and a little bit now, and I first heard about Shout in 2019 was when I used the service.
So the reason I became a Shout volunteer is I actually lost my brother to suicide in 2018 when he was 15 years old, and I didn't really know much about mental health at the time. And over the last 5 years, I've tried to build my understanding of mental health. I've become a mental health campaigner and tried very hard to help the people that are in Sam's position. And I made the decision to join Shout because actually, for me, there is no greater way of having impact in someone's life than being on the end of the phone when they need it. To be part of a service who can provide support to anyone, anywhere, no matter what they're going through, and potentially save their life. It's an incredible thing.
Amazing.
How about you?
So I chose to volunteer for Shout because a few years ago I got diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and I was living at university in a really busy student hall, and I remember there were loads of people around me, but I just felt so incredibly alone with this news that I had bipolar. And it was suggested to me that Shout was a charity that I could reach out to, and I realised it was a text-based service. So I kind of felt confident enough to just send that first text message. And then I got a ping back a few minutes later, and I was like, someone's there, someone's actually listening to me. And I had an amazing conversation with a volunteer all about how I was feeling, kind of looking for ways forward. And I really left that conversation feeling like things could be okay and things were going to be okay. So I decided then that I wanted to give back to the community that helped me so much, and that's why I chose to become a Shout volunteer. Using the service, you know how much it can give back to people, and you know how important it is. So like kind of having that thrown on yourself that you're the one kind of texting back is kind of quite overwhelming at times, but I think the training you get just prepares you so well. For that it's fine in the end.
And for me, I know that there was this thought of, I'm not clinically trained. I've not got a degree in psychology. But actually, the most important thing to have on Shout is empathy. And you don't need a degree to have empathy. You don't need a degree to say to someone, actually, you're going through a really bad, tough time at the moment, I'm here for you. You don't need a degree for that.
Exactly.
And we're always backed up by the clinical supervisor anyway, who does have that clinical experience. Purpose in life is such an important thing. You talk to people now and they feel like so hopeless and they don't know what they're doing and they don't feel like they can have impact, and everyone wants to volunteer but they don't have the time. Finding purpose in your life is really important, and logging on to Shout, taking a conversation, having some purpose, being there for someone in possibly the worst day of their life.
Yeah.
For me, that's purpose all over. You cannot find purpose that is anything nowhere near as close to as amazing as that.
There's something really kind of rewarding and special about you find someone in that really kind of dark, hopeless place, and through your conversation you start to explore with them, why they're feeling that way, things like that. And at the end of the conversation, hopefully they're feeling in a kind of cooler, calmer place. And I think, like you're saying about purpose, like it means so much to the volunteer to be able to do that. So I think it's amazing to be able to give back in that way.
The training was fantastic. I think I went into training obviously with a little bit of knowledge around mental health anyway, but you wouldn't need that. All you need is empathy and a want to actually listen to people and care about people. The training handles the rest, and it will tell you what to say. It tells you how to go about this conversation. It tells you exactly how you can take someone in no matter what circumstance they're in, from that moment of crisis, of panic, of everything's going wrong, I can't deal with anything, to a moment where they're like, actually, you know what, I'm just going to take it step by step. And all you need to start training is the passion for wanting to help whoever comes into that room and whoever texts in.
The training was incredibly comprehensive, and you have like conversation simulators, so you can literally practice having that like conversation with someone, and then you get feedback from a coach on that, and you might have to do it again or you might not. It was really enjoyable actually. I think I learned a lot out of it. I learned how to listen like actively, like you were kind of saying, and like be able to apply that to any situation, not just on the platform, is amazing really.
Yeah.
So I think the things I've learned from Shout volunteering that I apply to my own life are, I think I'm kinder to myself. I think a lot of the time we are quite harsh on ourselves, we're not doing enough. So I think learning to be kind to yourself and actually recognise what you have kind of achieved and what you have done is like, well, for me that was like quite a big step. So if someone was thinking about being a Shout volunteer but had a few hesitations, I'd basically say look at us two, like we've both had hesitations, we've both had reasons why we think we might not be able to do it or we might not be able to give back. But I think just go for it, honestly. Like the confidence you gain through the training, the confidence you gain on the platform, the community you've got around you, your supervisors, your coaches, your other volunteers is just absolutely incredible. So don't hold back thinking you're going to be on your own, because you're literally never on your own with this at all. I think as well, like it's really good how on Shout, if you have a conversation where you're find it a bit more difficult, there's like a survey afterwards and you can basically say if you're feeling good, like okay or not good, and you can reach out to obviously your supervisor or they'll get in contact with you to discuss that. So I think in terms of like self-care, the platform and everybody is there to support you as well, so it's not just kind of yourself, like literally everyone's there to support you.
Naturally we're going to have difficult conversations about difficult topics. That's going to happen. This is the nature of the crisis support service that we offer.
Exactly.
But the fact that this my supervisor got in contact with my coach then got in contact with me to check up on me, even though I reported that I was good, it just says everything you need to know about the level of support for volunteers.
Yeah.
I told them that I was okay and they still followed up and checked that I was okay.
So I think for me, being a Shout volunteer has helped my mental health because it's made me more empathetic with people. It's made me able to listen and, like I just said, not just surface level listen to people, like really try and understand what people are going through. And I think it's definitely made me kind of less anxious when dealing with like day-to-day things, and like if my friends come to me for like advice or they're having a tough time, I kind of feel more equipped to actually say the right things and listen and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's definitely helped my mental health. What about you?
I had real concerns going into this that what I'd been through would be triggering, and I'd find it really hard on my own mental health having conversations with people in this situation. But actually, it's gone the absolute other way. I lost my brother at a very young age. He was 15, and there was nothing I could have done because I had no idea what he was going through. And I often think, like, what would have happened if he texted in to Shout? And I've spoken to people that have been in Sam's position, and because they texted in to Shout, and because I was there to talk to them, they've survived. Now, in a very general sense, in terms of my life, I will never forget the conversation I've had with that person that, unlike Sam, survived. And they survived because of something I did. And actually something deep down in me almost needed to do that. Because of how I felt about what happened with Sam. And actually that in itself, just one conversation out of the many, many, many conversations I've had, I will never forget. And it makes me smile all the time. It makes me smile all the time thinking about the impact that we can have. What I would say is, if you are considering being a Shout volunteer, then you are the perfect candidate to become a Shout volunteer. You don't need any other qualifications other than wanting to be a Shout volunteer. If you've been on the website and looked, you're the right person to be there, right? If you have any interest, then do it. But do it knowing that you're going to be supported. Do it knowing that we're going to give you the training. Do it knowing that you don't have to come with clinical qualifications. But please, please, please do it. We're on the platform. We see how much this is needed.
I would definitely recommend volunteering to others. So I think you learn so many skills, and we've touched on it a lot, but you learn really how to listen to people, and it is that importance of not just kind of I hear you. It's no, like seriously, I'm listening and I'm here to support you. And you take that into your own life, which is amazing. And I think you get so much support with Shout and through Shout that it's a no-brainer really.